It's time for DCU Daily. So welcome on in to another episode of DCU Daily. We're back with so much more from the world of DC. Of course, we've already been talking about a bunch of things this week and last week. We had a new Superman TV spot drop a few days ago. We had to talk about, of course, Lanterns continuing to cast all the supporting roles. Sinestro, um, Purna Jagannathan talking about her take on how good she thinks Lanterns is. We have lots of other little things like Robert Eggers complimenting Matt Reeves the Batman. So with that and so much more, as always, with me I've got John. John, what are you most looking forward to talking about today? I know we're gonna do the Alfred cast fan casting. So is that
Hell
your
yeah.
biggest thing, or are you thinking about some of the other news items we might get into?
I'm excited for a whole bunch of stuff. All the things we're going to be talking about. Well, most of well, I would say all the things. All the things. Let's go with all the things. Be positive. Try to be bringing the people up.
Hell yeah, that's right. I mean, we're inclusive. We're trying to make sure that everybody gets a little bit of a mention and due because hey, we love that you guys stop by here each and every day, Monday through Friday. And with that in mind, if you haven't already, smash that like button because that way this gets out in front of more eyeballs and we can continue to grow our community. We have new people in the chat each and every day. We do appreciate you. We love that you guys stop in and check us out. And we are here to give you the latest from the world of DC. Speaking of which, DC, of course, not only on TV and in the movies, DC Comics is making moves, and it looks like we're getting it's almost showtime because we're about to get a Zatanna comic book, a new series. Zatanna #1 is written and drawn by let's see, what is the full name there? That's from Price 14, Jamal Campbell. And look, the cover looks fantastic to me. It's gonna be in comic book shops on February 19th, so literally 10 days after the Super Bowl. Um, John, what are your thoughts? I mean, another Zatanna comic book series.
I
Everybody
mean,
loves Zatanna.
Zatanna's great. They need to include her into the
Yeah.
DCU, I think. Include. I can't talk today. That's okay. Um, but
Included
yeah,
in the DCU.
Zatanna's great. I love Zatanna. She's a great character. Um, they need to include her in a movie soon. But I'm glad she's getting more stuff with Zatanna. Now I know Far Sector, which it seems like Jamal Campbell didn't get a ton of praise, but let's hope he does a good job with this because Zatanna is a cult fan favorite that a lot of people love. So I think it'll be fun.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I mean, this looks fantastic to me. The artwork looks great. If that's the cover, then it would definitely convince me to pick it up. And Zatanna is a character that hopefully we'll get in the new DCU. With that said, of course, more from the comic book sphere, DC has now shared a sneak preview of their brand new Superman Lex Luthor special issue #1. It's written by Joshua Williamson with art by Eddie Barrows. This was shared on the Gunverse account. They post a lot about the latest comic book news from DC. So the variant coverage on it looks fantastic to me. Look at this artwork here. I mean, I'm excited. It's gonna be the summer of
Pretty cool.
Superman. That's like another series that's coming out, but we got more Lex Luthor. We talk about
Yeah,
how
and Joshua
Nicholas Holt is gonna
Williamson's
kill it.
great.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, it's again, we've got the absolute universe going on, but that doesn't mean that's the only thing that's going on. So I'm excited to see more Lex Luthor in the comics. Now let's keep the ball rolling because we have another variant cover here, and this is the goodest boy in the cosmos, and he's arrived on the scene. Catch Krypto on Chrissy Zulo's variant cover of the Superman Summer of Superman special.
Yep.
It doesn't look like the Krypto in the movie Superman, but
Artistic
I'll take
license.
it. I'll take it. He
He's a
looks
good
so
boy.
cute.
He's
So
the
cute.
goodest boy.
Oh yeah, I'm excited. Anytime we can get more Krypto, yeah, that's the best. That's the best. So I'm sure Fiona will appreciate it, and Lenny will appreciate it. We've got all of you guys watching, and hopefully you will appreciate it too. If you're excited for the movie Superman, then maybe you can go check out Summer of Superman, pick it up from a comic book shop near you, and enjoy not only the main cover which features Superman, but here you've got Krypto as well as a variant cover. So another thing I came across on Instagram, which I figured I'd share with you here, John, because I figured
Mm.
this is something we can both splurge on down the road. Superman: The Definitive History. This thing looks huge, and apparently it was a 13-pound parcel. And when he flips through the pages here, Mr. Stevie 18, oh my God, like there's some attention to detail in this thing. Like
You
I'm
said
sure we do.
huge. You
I'm
said
sure we
huge,
do.
so I gotta mention that.
Maybe, yeah. I'm sure there's a few looks at the bulge actually. Like, look at those images. Look at all the cutouts and all these extra bits. It's not just like a plain old printed book. Like, it looks amazing. I mean,
13 pounds.
that's huge, right? And you look at the size of this thing. Look at this. I don't know how big this person. There's a bulge. There you go. But I mean, you even got that Nicolas Cage Superman suit in there. It looks like so. I'm excited to get my hands on this thing. It talks about how you're gonna be able to look at all the appearances of Superman, the history of the character, all the way from the very beginning up till what we have today.
Look at them
So
socks.
maybe even Henry Cavill and maybe a little bit of a preview of Long Live the Bulge. Maybe even a bit of a preview of David Cornsweat's Superman. I just thought this was really interesting. So yeah, and again, another Superman related thing. Speaking of Superman, of course, David Cornsweat is our Superman, and him and Isaac Gonzalez are part of a new boss. The cologne or the perfume, whatever you want to call it. They're part of a new boss campaign. Um, is he smoldering enough? Like, how does he look? I mean, a lot of people want to see potentially Isaac Gonzalez as a new Wonder Woman. Either that or Adria Arjona, which I know I confuse the two of them half the time, but I just differentiate it by saying Adria Arjona was in Andor and Isaac Gonzalez is in the Godzilla movies. So that's my line of differentiation.
Yeah.
But yeah, what do you think?
Isaac Gonzalez is great. David Cornsweat's great. I mean, he is looking just smoldery as ever. You know, changing the hierarchy of the DC universe. Yeah, I think he's rocking it.
He's rocking it.
And this is very cool from him. So, he's doing all the things. He's doing perfume
all
commercials. Let's go, man.
I can't wait for somebody to Photoshop this so that Isaac is wearing this Wonder Woman
or
costume,
somebody draws something and he's wearing
Superman.
He's Superman and she's Wonder Woman. Yeah,
exactly. Yes, that somebody do that. Somebody's gonna do it for sure. I by the time we get to like the end of the week, I'm sure we'll have that in hand. So all right, well, the last thing in the general news section of the show is, well, it's a little Marvel crossover here. So Anthony Mackie, our new and current Captain America, he grew up watching Michael Keaton's Batman,
God,
and
Michael
he said
Keaton looks
proudly,
like dog shit in that fucking. Why did they have to get an image from the Flash? Why did they have to get an image from the Flash? Why couldn't they get it from? He looks so terrible in that. Like
that
God
suit just
damn.
doesn't. I don't know, man. It's because
the thing is, it
was not designed
work.
to be worn during the day.
It was never supposed to be worn during the day.
Yeah.
It looks terrible, and the eye makeup looks not complete. It just looks terrible. It just looks terrible. Anyway, sorry, Anthony Mackie, but yeah, Michael Keaton. That makes sense.
Yeah.
He's the Batman for a lot of people. So yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Captain America's favorite Batman is Michael Keaton, and Michael Keaton will tell him, "I'm Batman." He will tell all of us, and I will not deny that. Michael Keaton is still Batman. He's been playing Batman.
Pete Holmes is my Batman. I prefer Jared Leto.
You talk to fish. That's where the fish are.
I just have it on my list of powers is talk to fish. He's like, I got sonar vision, so you can talk to fish. I have super strength, so you can lift the fish. Like, how fast can you go? Like a slow boat? Like
a slow.
Like, what about a normal boat? I don't. I'm not.
To boats.
Yeah, you're out. You're fired.
You're fired. Yeah, I'm like Kurt Cobain. Yeah, because you're dead to me. Right.
Because you're dead to me. Because in case your neck gets a little chilly.
I love it. Or was it Shit Dick Daniels? Is his alter ego? Yeah, the what was it? The something of Hastio of like whatever. The lasso of something compels you. Great. Anyway. All right, moving on. So we're gonna talk about, speaking of Batman, we have to talk about Alfred Pennyworth, of course. We want to do a fan casting because we've of course done the fan casting for the DCU Batman. I feel like 500 times, and they still haven't figured out who's actually going to be playing the character. But what spurred this on, really, John, was I came across this from 21 Concepts, 21 times 4 on Threads. They do a fantastic job with all of these art, fan art, really. And we have seen it, with when Chris Pine was potentially being cast as Hal Jordan. They even did Aaron Pierre and Kyle Chandler as the Green Lanterns once that casting became official. And the latest one from them is Ralph Fiennes, or Ray Fiennes, I should say. And the idea of, again, just like they say in their post, crafting concepts from ideas, providing new perspectives, and speaking the imagination for deeper insight. They say, see the caption below. So of course, the imagery is fantastic. And in the caption below, they talk about what was their inspiration. They said, I took inspiration for this concept from the Alfred and Batman the Animated Series. You probably saw it on the thumbnail if you clicked on this video, which is still, 21 times 4's favorite version of the character. Ray Fiennes could bring him to life perfectly. The loyalty, wisdom, and toughness, but also the dry wit and sassiness that made that version of Alfred so iconic. I will agree with you. The sassiness on that Alfred was iconic.
I
Whoever
remember
James Gunn ends up going with, I hope Alfred from Batman the Animated Series is
I
the
remember when they were
blueprint.
making comics of like the stories at the time where they were like,
Yeah.
where Batman's like, I gotta go back out for patrol or because of da 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 da, and he's like, oh, what a shame! I just made you a gigantic dinner of nothing. Oh, it's gonna have to go to waste now. And then like you see Batman running to the Batmobile, and you see Alfred throwing away the nothing
Then
just
that's
to prove a point. Like, fucking love it.
Love it. I mean, I think Ray Fiennes looks dashing in that
I
three-piece
think
suit, but also
Ray
he
Fiennes
can
would.
pull it off. He would
Um,
also be probably the best actor ever to play the role. Like, no offense to
I mean,
Jeremy
he's already
Irons
played the
or Michael
role. He
Caine.
voiced him in Lego
It's
Batman, so
He
it's not
did.
totally
So there's
out there for him to
precedence.
do it in live action. I mean, the thing is, he's doing like I would say, oh, Ray Fiennes is like prestige, like, but he's voiced the character, so that's something. And then on top of the fact, he's doing 28 years later, which is kind of like, it's a horror movie, so it might be seen as like lesser to people, and he's doing that, and I assume I think he was confirmed for the Bone Temple, which is the next film in the 28 years later trilogy. So, I feel like I don't think he's like above doing this. If he's doing the voice and did the voice, and he, has done stuff like horror, then I think, Ray Fiennes could be a good choice. And I think, he would look great. I think he would be great. I mean, it's just like it would be, oh my God, another great performance. We haven't gotten a bad Alfred. We really haven't gotten a bad Alfred. So I think he would just add to the pantheon of great Alfreds. So I think he would be an excellent choice. Now, for your pick, I don't know about that, but we'll get to that soon.
I mean, well,
Ray
that
Fiennes would be excellent.
yeah, well, I mean, this was this is the first pick that we wanted to get into because we have 5 names. I think Ray Fiennes would make a good Alfred because yeah, he's got all the talent in the world. He's the perfect age almost. He was in Conclave recently, which is probably going to win a bunch of awards. I don't know if he's going to get him an award or not. He's
I hope
probably one
so.
of the
He
best
was excellent,
actors like
excellent,
out
excellent,
there. Who's
excellent in
yeah.
that movie. I
I
mean, the
mean,
whole movie was fantastic.
the whole movie was fantastic. What I will say is like he's probably one of the best actors out there who has yet to, like win an award, like an Oscar really. So yeah, I'm excited to see, if he does end up in the DCU. Like you said, he's already voiced the character once in animation, so why not do
Yeah,
it in
he's
live
been
action?
nominated
So
3 times, apparently. I thought he won. So, in
yeah,
addition to Conclave, he was nominated for The English Patient and Schindler's List.
yeah.
So, and from what I've heard about Schindler's List, he did a fucking great job there.
Yes.
So, as Amon Goth, I think his full name was, like, I remember a little bit of a sidestep. I apologize, but and he was in Harry Potter. Like, that's like as low as you could
He's
possibly go,
Lord
so it's fine.
Voldemort. Come on.
But I remember when they were shooting the film and
Hmm.
he was dressed up in full SS uniform as Goth. I don't know how you pronounce it in German, but they brought a Holocaust survivor from the camp that he was at, or like where he like worked. And the survivor, she saw him and she started shaking and crying because he looked so much like the actual guy that she had to be like taken away, and she had to be calmed down. And and just from his look, you can do that. And then he gave an amazing performance on top of that. So, you know, it just goes. And I've heard great things about The Menu. I have yet to watch it. And if he would be cast as Alfred, well, here he is with Lex Luthor having a ball, insulting Lex Luthor to his face. So yeah, I think he would be a great addition no matter what. Like, he would be a great addition to anything and everything. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I think he could be a great pick. I would love to see that. But yeah, we've got another pick. Like, the second pick that I've got here is this is my contribution to the to the fan casting, as it were. Christian Bale. It's in the graphic down below. Christian Bale is potentially the DCU Batman's butler. Alfred Pennyworth. Of course, it would be a bit of a full circle moment. He did play one of, if not the most iconic Batman in the Dark Knight trilogy, which I still believe is probably the best trilogy of all time. But the Dark Knight is the perfect superhero
I don't know about
movie.
the best trilogy of all time. Lord of the Rings still exists, my guy. So
I personally would put it above it, but that's just me. With that said, though, I mean, Christian Bale, I feel like he's aged up to the role. You wouldn't think of him as somebody who was potentially old enough yet to play Alfred. Like, maybe like you in the 90s, you wouldn't think Jeremy Irons was ready at that point to be an Alfred, but clearly he did play Alfred for a little while there in the 2010s. So maybe it's a little early, but I wouldn't necessarily mind seeing an Alfred that's maybe a little on the younger side. I think he can play.
They'll pull an Aunt May, but with Alfred. They'll just make him super young for no reason.
Yeah.
He'll be a DILF, like Aunt May was a MILF.
Yep, I can't wait for that moment. He's like, Damian Wayne shows up. He's like, that's like Uncle Alfred? Like, what? It's like, I just want an Alfred that can kick ass. Like, look, I'll be honest with you. I think, like, we haven't ever gotten a bad Alfred. Like, Jeremy Irons was great. Why am I forgetting the name of Andy Serkis? Andy Serkis' Alfred looks like he can kick some butt. Like, that dude looks like he was in the SAS back in the day. Like, I buy that. And I think I would buy that Christian Bale if he was Alfred. Like, and again, just the fact that he played Batman is one of those, like, I know it's a little cheesy to kind of go for, like, oh yes, Dean Cain, he used to play Superman and now he's playing Supergirl's dad, but it would certainly add a lot of star power to the movie. I don't know.
Prestige there. But I mean,
I see what you did there. Some prestige. Oh, the puns. What do you think?
And there he is with Harley Quinn and, what could have been Jon Stewart.
Could have, would have, should
have. But Aaron Pierre, he's going to be excellent, so it's fine.
Yep.
But I have my own choices. Now, I was talking to you backstage about this in terms of various ways you can play an Alfred. I think there's three. I mean, there's multiple ways you can play Alfred, but I think there's three good ways. The dutiful voice of reason butler, kind of like Michael Caine. The badass, like Sean Pertwee, and then who was also a really good Alfred, and then the sassy one, which I think Jeremy Irons did very well. Well, if we're going by that order, I think the dutiful butler, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, dutiful, voice of wisdom, who's there to, like, have a helping hand, but has, like, an older wisdom guidance. Personally, I he's got the voice, he's got the look, and he's got the age for it, unlike Christian Bale. But I went.
Don't be ageist.
I don't want like a DILF Alfred though. I want a GILF Alfred anyway. But with that, for the voice of reason, older wisdom one, I went with Bill Nighy. I think he could definitely bring, like, sort of just more of that, like, Michael Gough, Michael Caine vibe of, like, a guy who's just always there for Master Wayne, and someone who's always there to, like, give a helping hand when need be, but won't do anything like crazy, if that's what you plan to do with the character. It depends what you want to do. So I think he would do a brilliant job, great actor, but he could also do the level of sass because he's mainly a
I really
comedy
loved him in
actor.
this show, by the way. This was like the
Um,
remake, the reboot of The Man Who Fell to Earth. He did a great job
um,
in that show.
Yeah. But yeah, I think he could definitely bring some sass. I don't know if he would have like badass vibes, but I think
Hmm.
he could do the sassiness as well. But mainly I think he's a very good like voice of wisdom character. I think he does
Yeah.
that like the best, I personally think. Like I remember his like bit part in Vincent and the Doctor, because of course I have to mention Doctor Who, where he's just like this, like just giving that monologue about Vincent Van Gogh was just brilliant, and he did that very well. And I just think like he would portray that role, like that aspect of Alfred, very, very well.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, he would be like probably the oldest Alfred since I forget the actor who played him in the 80s and the 90s. It
Michael
was
Goff,
Michael
Michael
Goff.
Goff,
He'd
who was
probably be the
also in Doctor Who.
true, true. I'm just thinking at it. The only downside for me for Bill Nighy would be the fact that you want to bring in somebody who's going to play this character
For
for
a while.
years,
Yes.
right? So I'm like Jeremy Irons was clearly cast because they thought he could probably be Alfred for 20 years. I just don't know
Yes.
if Bill Nighy's the man
I
for
don't know
that
if Bill.
job.
Yes, that is
You know,
that is true.
like
It's just like
it's
whenever I think of like really good voice of reason, I just like
and
that's
nothing
who I
against.
came
I'm
up
not
with.
like he's gonna
Yeah,
pass away while he's playing the role or anything like that. I'm just saying I don't see him being somebody who's going to be willing to be in like Michael Caine. Like Michael Caine is retired from acting. He's in his 90s. I'm like Bill Nighy. I don't know how old he is, but I'm like I feel like 20 years from now or 10, 15 years from now, which might be only like 3 or 4 movies worth. I mean, and considering that the Batman Brave and the Bold, you might not even get until 2028. Like that alone, you're looking 3 years from today. Like he will probably at that point be able to do 3 or 4 movies, maybe. Um, and it just depends on how Alfred's role evolves in the movies. I know, like in those '90s Batman movies, like the role kind of got diminished as they went along and added other characters, but still, like the story was there. They kind of like played a little bit of like just Alfred getting older into the story as well. Doesn't he pass away? Isn't Alfred like? Doesn't he pass
yeah.
away in
They
Batman and Robin?
fucking. Well, they
So,
no, he was gonna die in Batman and Robin, but then Mister Freeze had had the cure because he had
uh,
the same disease his wife had, but it was an earlier stage, so he was
okay,
able to save him while he couldn't save his wife.
yeah.
Um, but they fucking killed him off in the comics because Damian Wayne was being a schmuck. So
Well,
fucking assholes.
look,
Anyway,
I think it's a good pick. I just, like I said, the only downside is I don't know if he's gonna be able to play the role for 20 years.
yeah,
Which might seem like an exaggeration, but like with the pace at which these movies are made, 20 years might just be like 4 movies. Like it just depends on how often.
right.
And I feel like a Jeremy Irons. I honestly, if they brought back Jeremy Irons, I wouldn't
I
mind it.
wouldn't
Like
mind that at
just
all.
bring just you've brought along a few other actors like Amanda Waller being played by Viola Davis, John Cena playing Peacemaker. Why not have Jeremy Irons continue on as Alfred? I don't know, but no,
Right,
Bill Nighy is a great actor, one of the best in the business, and he would not be out of place. It's just as a matter of how many movies can he do. So
right.
yeah.
Well, I did for my next choice. He is definitely a bit younger, but I mean, he's still old, but still young enough to do multiple ones. Now, here's the badass one. Here's the one that like could kick ass, like the famous panel of like, "I'm sure you've confused me for my master," of his no kill rule. Well, I don't subscribe to such niceties whilst loading a shotgun. That's like my preferred Alfred. I want to see a badass Alfred, and the one I have next is Liam Cunningham, who he was in
he's
Game of Thrones and
but he's most recently in Three Body Problem, which is
yeah,
coming
Three
back
Body
for another
Problem.
season. Big part of that show.
But he's great. He's I think he's in his like early 70s, maybe. I think Bill Nighy's in his like 80s at this point.
Yeah.
But I mean, he just looks like he's like I said this to you. Like this man looks like he's actually killed 30 people without
Yeah.
blinking an eye
I can buy
and
it.
like has not regretted it. Like this dude like is fucking like would be scary. Like I think he might even be too badass for Alfred, like straight up, but like I
Hmm.
still think he could do it. Like maybe maybe shave his beard a little bit, maybe like give him a little bit of a wig to a little bit more hair so that he can like be less scary. But I think Liam Cunningham, like he's played so many roles where he's just been like such a fucking just stone cold motherfucker. I know in Game of Thrones he was badass, like from what I heard. So um yeah, Liam Cunningham would be awesome. He was great in Last Voyage of the Demeter. That was really good of him. He played this like, honor bound captain, and he was
Yeah, yeah.
fucking awesome in that fucking movie. But yeah, he's done a lot of great stuff.
Was
And
he the captain in Titanic? Am I remembering that
no,
correctly?
he was in Lord of the Rings. Um,
Okay.
um, I think oh fuck, Gondor calls for aid. Maybe I think that guy. Hold on, I gotta look him up because it's gonna bother me. Um, if I don't look it up, and I don't think Liam Cunningham was in this. Um, hang on, gotta go to this.
Yeah.
John's uh, Captain. Bernard Hill. Bernard Hill was the name.
Right.
Yeah, he was also in. Yeah, he was also in Lord of the Rings. But yeah, Liam Cunningham, I think would be. He would be the badass Alfred, but I think he could bring like some sassiness and some good sages of wisdom as well. But in terms of the three things I want to see in an Alfred, I think he would be a good badass Alfred. I
Yeah.
don't know if people agree with that, but
I look. I think like yes, like you said, this guy looks like he can throw down, and he's probably done that not too long ago. In fact, and I wouldn't mind seeing because remember we have a young Damian Wayne. He's gonna cause some trouble, so I wouldn't mind seeing a version of Alfred that can go toe to toe with a Damian Wayne like a kid. Well, he's a kid, but still, if he needs to get whooped into shape, and I'm sure Bruce Wayne wouldn't mind that Alfred takes on a bit more of a hands-on approach, but yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that. I think, like you said, age-wise, a little bit younger than Bill Nye, so he could be a good fit. Um, and he could probably stick around for a long time too. Of course, he's already got a few shows that he's currently a part of. He was in, like you said, Game of Thrones, so he's got the chops, he's got the ability, he's got the look. He can pull it off. I wouldn't mind seeing it. I think it would be interesting to see going this route because his appearance is much more rugged than some of the Alfreds that we have gone. Like of course, Michael Caine, was a leading man in his day, and even today, well into his 80s, and so like he looked the part, right? So
mhm.
in terms of like that traditional beauty, or like just being just a handsome, dashing gentleman that he was. Whereas you
Yes,
look at when you and again, nothing against Liam Cunningham, but like he isn't that traditionally handsome person. He's a little more off, like Jeremy Irons would fit in with the Michael Caine sort of category. But I would love to see it. And you know what? Quite frankly, the appearance to me doesn't matter so much as it's like how is the story being written? Where does this character fit? Just how much of him are we going to see? He certainly was a handsome gentleman, I should say. I'm combining my words back in the peak of his prime. But like you said, you want somebody more rugged who can beat your butt and look like he can take on a few dudes even today. I think he might be only one on the list outside of course Christian Bale because he was Batman at one point in another life as they would say. I wouldn't mind seeing Liam Cunningham. I think he's one of the best actors around today. I really enjoyed his take on the character that he's playing in Three Body Problem. Even though I have a few problems with the show, I certainly have no problem with Liam Cunningham in the show. So yeah, I would love to see more of him as well. But
yeah,
yeah, I mean, four great picks so far. I certainly like to think that we've got four very different picks. Each of them has
yeah.
their own merits, and yeah, if you usually have some patterns and some commonalities, I feel like these four so far like really stand out as unique, and they each present a very different resume, but equally intriguing. So who do you got
Yes.
next?
So the last pick I have is the one who I think would deliver the fucking sass. Like sassy Alfred. If you want sassy Alfred, who is the sassiest British character we know in the last like 25 years, 20, 30, almost 30 years, I think. That's Anthony Stewart Head from Buffy the Vampire Slayer fame, played Giles.
Yep.
And that motherfucker was the
Is that Ted Lasso?
sassiest.
Was he in Ted? Oh my god, he was in Ted Lasso.
God, I barely recognize him, but he is the sassiest of the sass. He can sass anybody. Giles is very dry wit, sarcastic, and I think he can definitely do that. This dude looks like a fucking supervillain. God damn.
Right there with the trench coat.
But I think, he's kind of reached that point where he looks
Not
like,
really
pretty old. And, I think he would be, God, he would be so fucking great. Like, I mean, he was great in that show from what I've seen of him. And I think, I think he might be the youngest out of the four of these, maybe. I don't know about that.
Let me take a look.
But yeah, I
think
he's
70, so maybe no, he's not younger than Christian Bale, but nobody is younger than Christian Bale.
Obviously, but like in terms of the actual old guys.
Okay, yeah.
So Liam Cunningham might be like 68, 69. I'm not sure, but yeah, Anthony Stewart Head. I think like if you want an Alfred who's like
he's 63. Liam Cunningham is 63.
Yeah, so he would be the one, like, if you want an Alfred for a badass Alfred for a good long while, he's definitely the guy. But Anthony Stewart Head, like, if you want that dry wit, if you want just the fucking, like, sassy Alfred that Jeremy Irons brought, and, ooh, that's a mustache that Nosferatu would be jealous of.
Yes.
And or someone of, like, Batman the Animated Series, it's like, oh, I drew you a bath, and it's a picture of a bath. Yes. So, I think he would be great. Again, that's what I kind of want to do. I wanted to bring up three different aspects of Alfred as character. Could he be badass? Absolutely. I mean, he, headed, vampire slaying. And, I think he was like the mentor to a lot of people. So I think he could do that very, very well. And also, was he in Percy Jackson? Wait, go back a couple.
Where this?
Is this Percy Jackson?
Yes, it is. Sea of Monsters, 2013.
He played who Pierce Brosnan played in the first one. He was a centaur. Oh my God, I didn't realize that. I mean, it's been years since I saw Sea of Monsters, but they're like, oh, well, we can't afford Pierce Brosnan for this half-budgeted sequel. Let's get the guy. Let's get Buffy the dude from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
That franchise is. I mean, they're doing much better on Disney Plus now, but like that.
Yeah, I've heard. But I'm still like iffy about it. But yeah, Anthony Stewart Head, great actor, just sassy man and dry wit British guy. But I think he could definitely do that. He would be great. But yeah, I think all three of my choices, Bill Nighy, Cunningham, and Anthony Head, would be fantastic. But a Christian Bale, maybe like 10, 20 years from now. And then Ray Fiennes, I think, would get all encompassing. I think he could, badass, yes. Anthony Stewart Head's dry wit, and Bill Nighy's Age of Wisdom, and Liam Cunningham's badassery. I think he could do all of that in one and do it very well.
We haven't really talked about this one.
What is this show?
Dominion.
Oh yeah, wasn't this like a sequel to the movie Legion?
Was it?
I think it was.
Maybe. I don't know how long this thing lasted, if at all.
I think like 2 seasons.
Yeah. You know what? I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, was that? So it was on Fox. Anyway. You know what? One person we haven't mentioned, who you guys might be saying in the chat, I would love to see Jonathan Banks. If you want somebody who can kick some butt.
I mean, even though Alfred has never really been was never confirmed to as British until I think much later.
Yeah.
Unless he was British from the beginning. I don't actually remember if he because Alfred Beagle was the original Alfred Pennyworth, in the Golden Age. I don't know if he was confirmed as British or not. But I feel like, I feel like he kind. No, I'm thinking of Professor X was never confirmed as British in the comics, but he kind of just became British because Patrick Stewart was British. So that's who I'm thinking of. Sorry about that, but I think
Yeah,
Alfred
yeah,
Pennyworth kind of has to be. So I mean, could he
yeah.
do it? But I don't think he would fit Alfred.
He's 77, so he's certainly on the older side.
I'm not talking about age,
But
man. Just personality. I think he's just too
yeah,
stoic. I think he's
I
not.
could see it though. It's just another version of Alfred. I mean, he was in Constellation. Dude can still kick butt. That show got canceled, but like he was still a pretty good part of it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying, if you're gonna go with somebody who's gruff, who looks like, he's a little unassuming, you're like, oh, this old man, but like, no, he will take you down, and he will do it in two moves. He's like a little bit of a, like an equalizer sort of a vibe to him, right? I don't know. I think it could work potentially, just as a bonus. Oh, look at that, William Shatner and Jonathan Banks. There's
TJ Hooker, I think that
on the
was.
plane.
Yeah, good times.
Yep. No. All right. Well, I mean, look, those are all the picks. Whether it's Liam Cunningham, Anthony Stewart Head, I should say, Bill Nye, who's probably he's the elderly statement of the group. Or Ray Fiennes. We looked at the very beginning. We looked at the concept art of Ray Fiennes potentially from 21x4. Great artwork, by the way. Or maybe Christian Bale. I mean, Christian Bale is the maybe the most the most, what would you call it? Like the most controversial, maybe the one who stirs up the most conversation. But I'm just saying it could work. You want somebody who can play the role for 20 years and then some, like Christian Bale's your man. Ray Fiennes, I think, would probably be a great pick as well. Maybe the perfect pick potentially. Like you said, he's already done it before, so he wouldn't be stepping into a character that he isn't familiar with. Even though voice acting for a character is a lot different than actually acting in live action. So I imagine he was gonna have to do a lot more work to prepare for the role. But I'm sure he did his research before when he did voice the character in the Lego Batman movie. So he'd be interesting. I mean, for me personally, I think, like you said, Liam Cunningham might be an underrated pick. My favorite would be Ray Fiennes. Christian Bale, I totally would not mind at all. I think that would be like a stroke of genius, but it takes a certain level of boldness. Pardon the pun, the brave and the bold. Certain level of bravery and boldness to pick somebody like Christian Bale, who's been Batman himself, to be like, what, you are our next Alfred. We're bringing it full circle, and we're not gonna make it corny or cheesy. We're just gonna skip past the fact that you've been in this universe or the adjacent DC universe before. But what are your thoughts, John? What's your favorite pick?
I think my favorite pick might be Liam Cunningham because, like, yeah, keeping Damian Wayne in line, that definitely brings some fuzzies in there. So yeah, I think, and being the youngest, I think helps. So he can be around for a good long while. Like if we have like 10 years and that's chapter 1 of this shit, then like they're gonna need to bring someone.
I mean,
in
at
for a
this rate,
while.
by the time that movie comes out, we might be like looking at 10 years into the DC universe already by the time the first Batman movie comes out. But who knows? Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing, like you said, like somebody who steps in the role and can do it for 20 years, because that probably means like they're signing up for maybe a trilogy of
Peter
Batman
Davison
movies and
could
a
be a good one
couple
because
other
he was
ones.
the youngest Doctor, and I think he could definitely do that well.
Yeah, could be. Could be. I mean, I think
Because
these
I
are all
was
good
just going
picks.
through my feed real quick because somebody
Yeah.
messaged me and I saw Tom Baker blowing out candles on his 91st birthday cake, which was in the shape of a TARDIS. I'm like, Tom Baker definitely couldn't do it, but his successor could. So
I agree. And on that note, I think we've got it. I mean, whether they go with Ray Fiennes, Liam Cunningham, or Christian Bale, or any of the other names we mentioned, I think those are all good picks. It just depends on the story they're trying to tell, right? Like, it's at the end of the day, what does the story call for? We kind of have an idea what the movie is going to be about, but we don't really know what the script is going to actually call for. So I'm sure that's going to drive their decision making at the end. But and hopefully whichever direction they go, Andy Muschietti, James Gunn, we're trusting you to get it right. There's been plenty of Batman and plenty of Alfreds. Hopefully the next one will be just as iconic as the ones you've gone before. Batman Brave and the Bold, let us know in the comments down below, who would you like to see as Alfred Pennyworth? Is this a character that you like to see maybe an A-list casting like a Christian Bale or Ray Fiennes? Would you be, looking for somebody who's a little more off type, but somebody a little more gruff, who can deal with a rebellious, teenager like a Damian Wayne, maybe a Liam Cunningham or an Anthony Stewart Head? Or would you prefer somebody who's a little more tame, kind of similar to what we got with the what was the name of the actor from the 90s again?
Michael Goff.
Michael Goff, somebody like, Bill Nye, who could potentially step in, but maybe a little on the older side. So like, how long can he play the role? Like, you might have to recast the role if you are looking at a 20 to 30 year timeline for this character. Again, I'm not saying or implying that Bill Nye is going anywhere anytime soon, but I'm like, he's the elderly statement of the group. But between all those picks, even maybe Jonathan Banks, and then whatever you guys come up with, your fan casting sometimes are better than ours. Just let us know in the comments down below. We appreciate it. We will bring those into the show, talk about them. As always, of course, if you're in the live chat, thank you for stopping by. If you haven't already, hit that like button. And then if you are new, we see a lot of new faces and new names in the chat each and every day, and we appreciate you stopping by, and we hope you'll stick around. So hit that subscribe button, that way you'll know when we go up with a new show or have a new live episode, and the notification bell, if you toggle it, that way you'll get notified when we have a new live shit going up, or if we have a new video upload. So with that in mind, John, thanks as always for making all those good picks. I added a couple of things in there. I'm sure you guys will let us know in the chat which one, or in the comments, which one you enjoyed the most. But up until next time, up until the next episode of DCU Daily.
There we go.
There you go.
There it is.
Go out there, watch something DC related, come back and talk to us about it. We'll be here with, lots of coverage from the world of DC, the news, quick hits, everything going on in the world of Hollywood. Yeah. Until next time, John, it's been great. And we'll see you on the next episode of DCU Daily.